misery is manifold. The wretchedness of the earth is multiform. How is it that from beauty I have derived a type of unloveliness, from the covenant of peace a simile of sorrow? But, as in ethics, evil is a consequence of good, so in fact out of joy is sorrow born. Either the memory of past bliss is the anguish of today, or the agonies which are have their origin in the ecstasies which might have been.
Hi, April. Hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, please, do you want to come in? Yeah, cool.
So, yeah, I thought this would be okay.
Yeah, that's great. Great.
Sorry, I haven't really got much to offer. Do you want a glass of water or something?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay, I'll go grab one.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry it's a bit sparse. I like to keep things simple. It's less to think about.
No, it's a minimalist aesthetic. I like it.
That's a nice way of putting it, I suppose.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you some questions. David, have you always been such a hard worker?
Have I always been such a hard worker? I suppose it depends what you call work, really. I suppose the things that other people call work, I've always enjoyed. As far as school and academics go, I've been that way since I was about 12, I think.
So, were you different before that?
It was such a long time ago, and I was a child, so it's difficult to remember. I've always enjoyed reading, since I was about 6 or 7, I think. I've always had an active imagination, and the books fed into that, I think. I do recall a time when I was a bit more sociable, more playful, rambunctious. I remember having friends and wanting friends when I was a child.
Would you say you don't have friends now?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's been so long since, I mean, this is the closest thing to any real social interaction I've had in quite a while.
Would you say that it's something that you're okay with, or does it bother you?
I suppose I've just had to find a way to live with it, really. Characters in fiction and knowledge in non-fiction have become something of a substitute for friends. Sometimes I found myself so invested in prose that I'd be transported into another world. I'd become so immersed that sometimes I'd forget that I was even reading, which is a blessing and a curse when you're studying your PhD. Are you okay?
Yeah, fine, thanks. So you are studying your PhD?
Yeah.
Okay. And how old are you?
21.
Mm-hmm. And you're in your third year now?
Yes.
Okay. And is it 4-year program?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So how is it even possible?
Well, when you don't have a life, you can be fairly productive. Coffee helps.
I'm sure. And what was your doctorating?
It's comparative literature.
Of course. Now I understand you're taking some time off.
Yeah, I'm on medical leave.
Listen, David, I understand it's a private question, but would you mind sharing some information about your health with me?
Certainly. It began about 7 months ago. I started to have trouble focusing on things. More specifically, I had trouble focusing on my thesis. I started to focus on other things, the wrong things.
What sort of things?
And this is where it gets a little bit. I mean,
If there anything you're not comfortable to talk about, we can just change the topic.
no, I'm okay to talk about it. I'm just trying to think how best to put it. My mind started to drift away from my work. I started to find myself lost in time in a way. You remember what I was saying about being immersed in books? The same thing would happen with anything. Take this table, for instance. Now, I'd wake up in the morning and I'd have a class to go to or I'd have things to do, and this table would capture my interest. And I'd start to ask questions like, who made this table anyway? And what kind of wood is it made from? And where did the wood come from? And how long did it take to make? And these questions would go on indefinitely. It would be no exaggeration to say that they went on for the whole day. And when it was really intense, I found myself in a sort of trance that when I snapped out of, I didn't know what time it was, I didn't know what day it was. And as a result, my productivity dwindled dramatically.
I see. And do you have plans to go back?
I do actually, in the autumn, fingers crossed.
Right. Now, if you don't mind my asking, I remember you mentioned something about sleepwalking to me. Do you think you could talk about that?
Yeah, my condition got to a point where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and go places, do things over which I had no control. And that's also when the dreams started to get strange around that time. Things would seem to be in a different time in the past, maybe 100, 200 years ago or so, but there would be other things that seemed to belong in a more recent time, and they blended together.
What happened in these dreams?
I lived in a very fine, very large house with my cousin. a young woman about my age called Berenice, and we had a butler called Elliot, and they called me Aegeus. It's a bit strange. Do you want to hear about it?
Yes, certainly.
Are you sure you're okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, it's a bit strange. That's an understatement, actually. It's very strange. I don't mean to scare you at all. I mean, I'm certainly not a violent person at all.
Of course, wherever you're comfortable with.
Okay, Elliot, the butler, was looking for me.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes, what are you doing down here? I've been looking for you everywhere.
Sorry, Elliot, I've been daydreaming. Again. As you know, I've been this way for quite some time now. It's been getting worse of late.
But what are you doing down here?
What did you need, Elliot?
Berenice wants to see you. She's
Berenice, why?
she's not well. She thinks she may be dying. She'd like you to see her before she expires.
She's dying.
I don't know. I've informed the doctor and he's on his way, but until then, she would very much like to see you.
Of course.
It is. So good to see you. Aegeus, I cannot be sure of the true nature of what has befallen me, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't afraid.
Afraid? What do you mean?
Of death, of dying. At times I can feel the life slipping right out of me. Through my toes, my hands, my mouth. I wanted to take this opportunity to say goodbye, lest I should die without getting the chance. This way, if I were to pass in the night, or while you were away, at least then we would have had this moment, right now, together.
The doctor will be here shortly. Rest now, Berenice.
Egeus,
Elliot.
how are you feeling?
Well, thank you.
I know it's not good news about Berenice, but I'm sure she'll pull through.
Yes.
How about a game of chess this evening? We haven't done that for a long time.
Chess. Very well.
Good.
War between good and evil is a condition of the universe. It's the condition of the universe. Nothing will ever change that. Until it ends. Or life ends. I'd even go so far as to say that because there is good in the world, then there also must always be evil. One necessitates the other. Nothing will change it.
But surely we must try.
Of course. But we'll never be rid of it. Not entirely, at least. Perhaps death is the answer.
You surely can't mean that.
Why can't I? A volcano erupts, engulfs an entire town, thousands of people die, and we call it a tragedy. Without life, a volcano erupts and engulfs what? Rocks? The earth from which it spawned? That's hardly very tragic. Or evil.
What are you thinking?
Sorry, what?
I simply asked what you were thinking, if you don't mind me asking.
Oh, sorry, well, it's just Berenice. How long has she been like that?
It's been a couple of months.
Months, surely I would have noticed.
There were episodes, but they were minor. They soon passed. It's only in the last couple of days that she's been in this state.
But she can't be dying, can she?
I don't know. But the doctor will be here soon, and once he's been, we'll know more. Why did you do that?
I can see where this is going. There's no way I can win.
Elliot, wonderful news.
Cheers. Cheers. Aegeus.
Elliot?
Aegeus, Berenice has just given me some information, and I'd like to ascertain with you its validity.
Information?
She says that you and she were to be married soon, is that right?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Aegeus, I'm very happy for you.
Thank you, Elliot.
In some ways it makes a lot of sense. But in others, not quite so much.
I'm not sure what you're trying to say, Elliot.
It's just... Aegeus, you've been...
I've been what, Elliot?
You and I both know you've not been well. In fact, both you and Berenice have been quite unwell.
What are you trying to say, Elliot?
I just want to know why now. Why this very moment? Why so all of a sudden?
Is this part of your job, Elliot? Because I'm not sure it is.
My job? Your well-being.
Elliot. You've known me since I was a child. And you've been like a father to me. So it's only natural that you should feel so concerned. But I'm a man now. And I have to make a man's decisions for myself, for my life.
And I must agree.
Good. Now, Elliot, if you excuse me, I have lots of work to do, plans to make and such. If I need you, I'll call you. It's going to be marvellous, don't you worry. Berenice.
Her eyes were lifeless and lustreless and seemingly pupilless,
What game is this, Berenice?
and I shrank involuntarily from their glassy stare
Berenice?
to the contemplation of the thin and shrunken lips. They parted, and in a smile of peculiar meaning, the teeth of the changed Berenice disclosed themselves slowly to my view.
Berenice?
Would to God that I never beheld them, or that having done so I had died. Ah, Elliot. It's so good to see you. No, I'm fine. Honestly, I am. I know I've not been particularly well as of late. But as you can see, I am myself again. Berenice and I are to be married as soon as she regains her health. Is that not wonderful news? And we have you to thank, Elliot. I really cannot describe how much you've done for us, and I am eternally grateful to you. Thank you, Elliot. I must say, Elliot, you've quite outdone yourself this time. No. No. No, this can't be happening again. No!
Berenice? Berenice? Berenice!
Yes?
Yes, Elliot?
There were screams in the night. Did you hear them?
They were real?
So you heard them? Where were you when you heard them?
Sure.
Aegeus, where were you when you heard them?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Berenice's grave was interfered with.
You mean interfered with?
I followed the screams, and they brought me to the grave. It had been dug up. The coffin lid was open.
The body?
Oh, it was still there. But alive.
Alive?
Alive!
It's impossible. Impossible.
No. No, it's not impossible. What she suffered from was not death, but something appearing to be death. Some symptom of her dreadful illness.
Where is she now?
We tried to save her. We really tried. Aegeus, whoever carried out this dreadful act, didn't just dig up her body, he disfigured it. By the time I got her back to the house, she died in my arms.